You've been working with augmented reality for a while now. What initially inspired you to get into it?
You know, it was interesting. My first job out of school, I worked for the Department of Transportation in the simulation industry. And I was exposed to some of the earliest versions of mixed reality. We were simulating how to drive ships and how to do inland waterway navigation. It was like a flight simulator for boats. And we had this, challenge of mixing the real world with the digital world, and letting people see, off in the distance with a pair of binoculars when they're in a real simulated bridge of a ship. And it really stuck with me, the power of combining the physical and the digital and the visualization. And then later on in my career, I worked at the Space and Naval Warfare Lab and kind of saw computer vision technologies grow up. And it always seemed like it would be one of the most important things we could do is if we could show people things that you just couldn't see otherwise.
How does the state of AR now compare to 5 years ago? Is it dramatically different?
Absolutely, it's night and day. In fact, we're still at the point where the technology is sort of nascent. That every 12 months, it's not just twice as good as it was before. It's 10 times as good as it was before. We're learning so much from an algorithmic standpoint, from a computational standpoint. We can do things that we could never do before.
What are the most notable applications that you've seen to date?
For us, it's where you're doing knowledge transfer in applications at work, where you're supporting people who need to make critical decisions and need to understand how to do very complex processes. A field engineer may be responsible for 600 different work packages, and some of them they may do only once in their entire career. Having that reference when they need it makes a big impact.
The most significant impact for AR, do you see that happening on the enterprise side or the industrial side?
Definitely on the enterprise side and in industrial applications in particular. What we've seen with augmented reality has left us to believe that it's very much going to be a top-down industry. Like when cell phone technology first came out, it didn't even start out as the big brick. It started out as a briefcase, and you only had it if you could stay connected and make a decision and used it at work. And then over the course of decades, it eventually became smartphones. And we think that's exactly what's going on with augmented reality.
So there will be a trickle down from many of the things that we're seeing on the industrial side, the enterprise side. How do you see those manifesting necessarily on the consumer side?
So I think that the consumer expectation, kind of meeting what they need, what they want to see, and the experiences that they want to have, and even more at the price points that they need to have them at, is going to take a long time. But today on the industrial side, you can solve real problems that impact the bottom line today. To deploy the technology, learn a lot, and then it's as we deploy more and more of those, you get economies of scale, and we start to get it to the point where we could address what consumers want. They could have these experiences anywhere, and really have this immersion between the real and the physical wherever they go.
Do you make a distinction between augmented reality and augmented work? Is there a difference there?
So no, we really look at augmented reality as any way of connecting information and the real world together in context. We call the visualizations that we do 4D because they take place in space and time. It's relevant because it's happening here at this moment in this place. And I think that what we're doing to support work, definitely in the larger sense of work. It's not just labor, it's work as in work of art, how you leave your mark in the world. We all want to reach our maximum potential. We get up and we're excited about what we do. We think augmented reality has a chance to let anybody get to do that same thing.
Last question for you, what people or projects are you following?
I think that I'm really excited about AR, so I get slanted in that direction, but obviously a lot around what artificial intelligence and learning is going to influence what we do and connecting the best parts of people closer together with the best parts of machines, and that's pretty exciting.
Great. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.